So on to race 3 we go. We have Alexander taking the bonus points for pole yet again. So we've got Jace P2, Largent getting an excellent launch. There's a whole bunch of lag there, so hopefully that settles down. Alexander now dropping all the way to P5. Really bad start for him. The Suzuki just not getting a drive off. That looks like Jace that's possibly gone wide, or maybe took a little nudge there. So Alexander somehow managing to survive and get himself through the first few corners and get himself back into the lead. But I've managed to get myself on the outside here, so we're side by side. We are still side by side even through the corner. So who's going to come out on top? It's Mazda versus Suzuki. He's got the inside line, obviously I've got the outside line, but that's going to put me on the inside for this corner. Am I going to manage to hold on to it as we go through the long sweeping right hander? He's took a little nudge there as well from Empire by the look of it. So Empire just using a bit of brute strength to get through, as we've also got a Renault there of Timo in P4. So again, Mr. Consistent still at it as we go across the line onto lap 2. Now this is a pit stop race. There's a bunch of cars going off there. We've got Empire going wide, and it's looking like Alexander's dropped down the grid there. So I'm going to assume he's took a nudge, possibly from Empire there. I'm not quite sure. We did see one of the Genesises, you know, essentially shoot him wide. So Timo now up into P2. Empire continues to be P3, battling with Largent. So the pit stop race, so let me explain this. You are required to make a single pit stop. Tyre wear is on, so you will feel a difference. It's up to you when you take it. Now in terms of tyre wear at this track, it wasn't majorly high by the halfway point. However, if you want to dip in at the halfway point and get on your fresh tyres instead of kind of hanging out, I guess, and letting them kind of just drop off a cliff in the later stages before taking your pit stop, you can do that. There's no set pit window. You can pit whenever you want. So if you really wanted to, you could essentially dip in on lap 1, end of lap 1, take your pit stop, and then go to the end. Obviously, it's not the wisest thing to do because you'll probably get a ton of tyre wear towards the end. But you can do that if that's what you prefer to do, as we've seen the battle between Empire and Largent go on. Largent running wide and losing the position there, so he's back in P4. Archangel up in P5, as well as the Honda of the bin. He's still P6, being chased down by Vinny Bear in the, I guess better place Suzuki this time round. So again, he's being very consistent with the points. He's pretty much always in the top 10 or thereabouts. Doesn't really seem to have any mistakes or anything really go off in this race. So we're looking at the Binners here in the Honda. Again, another consistent driver, pretty much carrying Honda through this round as he goes through this sideways. Is that going to allow Vinny Bear to catch up to the rear end of him? So let's see, is he going to be able to make a move? No, he's not. Jace again now on a recovery drive after being, I guess, pushed wide at the start. I couldn't really see too much from the angle we were at. So as you can see, Andy now P10, so he's running out the top 10, so BMW both in the top 10s. Jodie P11, so that's the best, one of the best positions she's been in. She's battling with Reed and Demon there in P13. He's just not having the best of rounds at all in one of the better machines, as Reed essentially punts Jodie straight off the track, and that's really thrown that car off. As you can see, ended up in the gravel. That's a long way back and a massive hit. So that's essentially just going to ruin her race completely in these early stages. So she's not going to be too happy about that one. Really big punt there, to be honest. Off-world Atom, he's now P13. Viper P14, obviously a stand-in driver, hoping to get a full-time seat. Hopefully he'll get that. Over the coming rounds, obviously people may drop out of the championship, and if they do, we do have drivers ready to fill their positions. So we do have a car that's backed out here, so we're only running 15 cars. I've got a feeling that may be the Honda of Reed. I'm not too sure. Obviously Jodie lingering down in P15 after that accident. Myself though, we're P1 and trying to get that gap to Timo stretched out lap by lap. So as you can see, Timo in the Renault, he is a full-time Renault driver, so he's putting in an absolute shift for that team. Obviously he does not have his full-time driver with him for the opening round, but he's also got a very strong stand-in, like I said, with Viper, who has just pretty much done an awesome job in all these categories, as that looks like Empire running wide. I'm going to assume that's going to allow Largent to maybe close the gap a bit, but we're essentially just leading the way here. trying to keep the tyres nice and sort of, you know, not wearing them off within a few laps. That's the last thing you want to do. Any kind of spin or trip through the gravel really can take a hit on your tyre life. So the main thing we're doing is just trying to keep it clean, keep it consistent. Obviously the front wheel drive cars, they don't really suffer from any kind of, I guess, grip loss at the rears. However, when those fronts go, it's not a nice experience. So if we can keep these tyres nice and healthy and Timo's Renault tyres drop off quite early, this can allow us to really stretch that gap out. So we've got Archangel still P5, so he's doing an awesome shift with that little Toyota, chased down by Jace in P6. Obviously a very strong driver for Team BMW, getting their biggest haul of points so far. As we enter this final race, it's pretty close in the manufacturers. You know, pretty few manufacturers that are, you know, up there and able to essentially take away the win from this opening round. But it'll be interesting to see which manufacturer really does come out on top. If you've got a fast driver and a consistent second driver, it can really help in the long run. As we're on board Jace here as he chases down Arch down the main straight, going into this really awkward right-hander that I was just going to absolutely swoop down, really closing the gap up there. So Arch very, very slow into the corner. That's allowed Jace to sit on his rear. As you can also see, both Suzuki's in P7, P8. So again, Alexander looking to do a bit of a recovery drive there, as well as Vinny just being Mr. Consistent with the points. So Suzuki are going to get a very good haul from this round, especially if Alexander continues to push, as it looks like Jace has made his way up. Yes, he has, as Archangel's now dropped down to P7. So he's lost 2 positions there. He's gone from P5 to P7. He's not going to be too happy with that one, as we are still on board with Vinny Bear. We're going to have a look at the Binners here. He's P9 in the Honda. Anything inside the top 10 for these Hondas is a good points result. They are really not suited around here in terms of testing. They were off the pace by a mile in comparison to pretty much all of the other cars. BMW, again, a very consistent manufacturer. We've got Andy in P11, chased down by Viper, who's gone up a couple of positions since we've last seen him. The Subaru of Adam in P13, so he's going to be a bit disappointed with that in such a strong car. As you can see, we're just going to have a look through the grid. We've got myself leading Timo by a pretty decent margin at this point, as that's looking like Reed just up ahead. So we're around about nearly a third of the way through this race. So soon we're going to be thinking about pit stops. Now, it's all about just keeping that rubber nice and fresh, or as fresh as you can, and choosing the right time to stop, where you're not going to get put out in traffic or anything like that, because it really can affect you, especially if these front few cars decide that they're going to pit on separate laps. It's all about trying to get yourself out in a bit of clean air, get a decent opening lap, so when you get your competitors pit, you can possibly jump them or maintain your position, obviously, which is what I'll be looking to do. So it's all about just picking when to box, when not to box. So we're coming up on Reed. He's actually had a decent lap here, and we've not really closed the gap up too much. So that Honda down in P15, which is last position. So Jody will be running P14, managing to get herself up a position after that a bunch of collisions and such at the start. So yeah, as you can see, we've still got Timo P2. He's again just consistent and consistently consistent, should I say. He's always up there. He seems to be battling at the front in pretty much any car, in any race, almost any track, I'm going to assume, because he seems to be very strong everywhere he goes. As you can see, we're trying to lap Reed here. Blue flags are being waved. They get waved quite early. You'll probably see marshals around waving the blue flags, but he's not wanting to get out of the way here, so we're absolutely having our time nuked as we try and get past the Honda. At that point, you should really just move out of the way. As soon as you see the blue flags, you move. Most people are sticking to it. Reed does not seem to be sticking to that at all. You can see the blue flags there being waved. So he's also going to get them for Timo probably at this point. They're going to be waving constantly. Whether or not he's going to obey them, who knows at this point, because he does not seem to obey them pretty much in any round where we've seen him be lapped. So, you know, I'll have to, again, just go and have some words, and hopefully, you know, next time round at Watkins Glen, which will actually be tonight, he will be able to obey those flags. Empire P3 again, a decent result for him, really getting the majority of the points for Genesis, as Demon just seems to be having a real off round in around here. It is a very tight track, and if you are not too careful, it's quite easy to get caught in carnage, and that seems to be what happens to him, because Demon is a very fast driver. So Genesis really do have a quick line up here. You've got the consistency of Empire with the speed of Demon, and that can really push them up the points, as now Timo's trying to get around Reed, and that's allowed Empire to just essentially crawl up to the back of him. So Reed really not moving for these blue flags at all. Let's see if anyone... No, he's still battling with him, so Timo now getting run wide. He's also got past Jody there by not moving out of the way of blue flags when she has, so just not a good look really, that. As you can see, this has allowed myself to stretch my gap out, as we'll be looking to box the car soon. So fuel weight is not on. This is mainly because it's just absolutely pointless putting fuel management in a touring car. Tyre weight, yes, it's very much on. But yeah, putting fuel management in will just kind of absolutely nuke the racing. Obviously it's not GT racing, it's not kind of longer events, they're more essentially sprint formats with differing lengths. So as you can see, Reed now giving Largent a push. So yeah, really not a good look for him. He's completely disobeyed blue flags and then decided to give P4 on us, so I don't think Largent will be overly happy about that one, as he's still continuing to race. I don't think Jodie will be too happy that she's lost a position when she's let him cars through with a blue flag and he decided not to. So yeah, really not a decent look at all, to be honest. Pretty unbelievable, to be honest, especially when you you tell people all the rules and stuff and then they decide to completely go against it, essentially. So as you can see, the bin is here. He's P9, followed by Viper. He's definitely on a recovery here. He was down in P14 when we first checked on him. He's now up 4 positions, as Andy is now P13. Reed obviously P14 after just completely disobeying blue flags, and Jodie's P15 after a nudge with Reed and then getting overtook by Reed when he disobeyed the blue flags for around about 2 laps straight, as she picks up a ½ second penalty. So this race is going from bad to worse. So yeah, not too good for her. But we do have one Mazda up in front, and that is myself, leading away from Empire at this point, who's managed to get himself past Timo. I'm going to assume that occurred when all the blue flag controversy started kicking off. Are we going to box it this time? No, we are going to keep going on this set of tyres, as we are essentially at the halfway point of the race at this point. So as you can see, we're going to keep the car going. Is anyone else going to box? It's not looking like anyone's boxing. In fact, yes, we do have a car. We have 2 cars in the pits. Actually, we have the Subaru of Largent and the Renault of Timo. They're looking to do the undercut. Or is it going to work for them? That is going to be the question. Is the undercut any good here, as Largent is now right on the back of Timo? So it's worked out for him, but it's not worked out too well for Timo. So I'm not sure what's happened there. Timo seems to have lost a ton of time there. I don't know if he was really that far back, but at one point he's P2, miles ahead of anyone, and now all of a sudden he's down, obviously battling with Largent, who was P4 on track before the pit stops. Now my Mazda has gone through again, so we're again not pitting this lap. There is another car in the pits. I'm going to assume that's one of the back markers. Yeah, that was the back marker of Jodie, so she's done her pit stop. That's her pit stop done. She does not have to take another one, which means one of the Mazdas has pitted and one has not, so one's staying out, as we're about to lap Viper here. Is he going to let us through, as Jace now boxes in the BMW? So let's go and see if he's going to have a decent pit stop here, or if it's going to lose him time. He's just obviously going to get the hard tyres put back on. Whereabouts is he going to come? It's looking like he's going to pretty much maintain where he was, so he's not really lost too much time at all there. He's just come out behind Vinny Bear, and I believe he has not pitted yet, as he's battling with a Honda up there. So I don't know if it's the Honda of Reed or the Honda of Bin in terms of that. So yeah, it was Reed, so he's just gone around there, nearly gone into the side of Jace. So we're finally pitting on lap 17 out of 30. We've done our longest stint to begin with. Are we going to come out in the lead? Empire also pitting, Alexander also pitting, so we've got 3 cars boxing on that lap, and we're going to come out just behind Andy by the look of it. Yes, we are. He's P13. Empire just coming out. Where's he going to come out? That's Timo, and that's Largent gone through. So they have managed to essentially do the undercut and get out ahead. Alexander, he's going to come out P5 just ahead of Archangel, so his pit stop just working there, but only just. I'm unsure if Arch has actually pitted just yet in this race, but Alexander managing to get those fresh tyres on and get himself away. As there was a car with a penalty there. That's Empire with half a second penalty, so that's going to cost him. Not only has he lost 2 positions on the pit stops, he's then picked himself up a nice half a second penalty, so he's going to be probably not too happy in that car right now, as we are managing to maintain our lead. Our teammate just up ahead of us, she's going to hopefully give us a bit of a slipstream to just help us cover off the rest of the cars and continue that gap. So is she going to give us a toe up? No, she's just going to let us straight by nice and cleanly. That's how you deal with blue flags. There's Arch now pits, as you can see, down in P8, so I wonder where he's going to come out. We'll see a little bit later on when all the cycling is essentially done from the pits. I believe the only car running in this top 8 not to pit is Vinny Bear, so he's still going at this point. Largent now P3, so he's going to be happy with that. Obviously jumping Empire on the pits, but it's looking like he's just dropped back a bit from Timo here as we are on board him. So I'm unsure if he's going to be able to catch him. Obviously he does have the 4-wheel drive in place, which is really going to help him on the exit of corners. He's going to be much quicker through there, but that Renault is no slouch at all through here. So we're on lap 20 out of 30. We're 2/3 of the way through. Largent continuing his push as Timo and Largent both go through past Jody. Is she going to manage to let him through? Yes, she is, as Empire now caught up behind her. Obviously she's still trying to race her own race at the same time while also trying to get out of the way. So it's looking like he's just got himself through. There's Vinny Bear now pits. Where is he going to come out? Has waiting managed to get him up a few positions, so he's just come out ahead of Demon. Has he? No, they're side by side. Demon looking to get the move done. Is he? No, he's gone wide, so I think that little Suzuki's just caught him out there, as Viper now gets himself up into P10, looking like he's done his pit stop. So both Renaults running pretty well, both within in the top 10, same with Suzuki's, and obviously we have the, I believe it may just be the one remaining Honda. I think Reed may have DSQ'd again, DNF'd again, not DSQ'd, sorry. But he should have been DSQ'd for that blue flag controversy early on, which was just ridiculous in all that. I know he's still going, he's still there, P15, so he's lost his position after the pit stops. Yeah, not really much I can say on him, to be honest. It's disappointing because he is genuinely a nice guy, but he's just obviously a bit frustrated. I don't think he's had the best of rounds here at Brands Hatch Indy. So Empire now right on the back of Largent, so almost like the long run pace of that Subaru is just not as good as the cars like the Genesis, the Renault, the Mazda. They are just consistently able to push longer as Empire spins. So no, he's not. He was pushing all the way back to the on the back of the Subaru, and he's lost it in the gravel there, and he's just absolutely spun off, just avoiding the barrier. So we did catch that quite well. Did Alexander manage to get the move done? I think he's still too far back, but that's going to cost Empire in his battle with Largent. So Largent pretty much safe and secure in P3 as we've got 8 laps to go. As you can see, Jace now chasing down Alexander. He's going to want to make those positions up after that dreadful start where he essentially ended up in the gravel trap. I don't think he was too happy about that. Archangel is now P7. He's also done his pit stop, so he's having a great race really in that little Toyota. Ben is here, he's P8. Vinny Bear, he's P9 in the second Suzuki. Viper's P10, so we've got a whole bunch of cars really fighting for this to get into the top 10. As you can see, Demon just behind Viper there. Viper, obviously, like I've said, the stand-in Renault driver, doing an excellent job. There's Adam letting his teammate through there. He's P12, so not the best of race for him. He's then getting caught up with Jody, who's looking to underlap herself there in the Mazda P14. So again, we are still leading in these later stages. We have a decent gap to P2, which is Timo in the Renault. So it's looking like, as long as we keep it nice and clean, we can take the win from this round. Obviously, in the previous round, I felt that I went a little bit too hard on that last corner move with the bin. So I did hand in that position back, or else we could have won 2 out of 3 of the Super Tourer races, as well as taking the win in the Mazda Roadster Cup. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be hopefully a single win. Obviously, as much as I would like to have taken that second win and give myself a nice points boost early on at a track where my car is definitely not the best performing, it would have been nice, but no, it just felt like it was just a bit too aggressive. So as long as we keep it clean with 5 laps to go in a second, we can surely take the win here. I don't think we're going to get points for the fastest lap. That is looking like Alexander's going to manage to take that, as Timo now trying to get past Reed, who then bumps him. So yeah, this is just becoming a bit of a joke at this point, especially in a longer race. You seem to catch this kind of stuff happening a lot more. So I don't know, it is what it is. Largent P3, he's dropping back from Timo, happily maintaining his position and essentially towing his teammate along. So that could work out long term. I believe all cars are pitted at this point, so we are seeing the true positions, as Reed is now P14, so I don't know quite what's happened to Jody there. Largent again P3, like we said, just constantly, just consistent really. Doesn't really put a foot wrong, keeps it nice and clean, and just continues to push. And especially with the launch these Subarus have, it's allowed him to really make some moves at the early stages and the starts of races. But it's just looking like his overall pace in terms of tyre wear and such just isn't quite there for the Subaru, so this is looking to be their weaker point, but still managing to get P3 with that car is an excellent job here. I wonder how they will perform at the Glen. I've got a feeling they're going to perform very, very well, because it's a decent mix of grip and speed. So that's exactly what you need, and that's exactly what the Subaru has as he kicks the rear end out there off the curb. Empire, he's P4. Alexander's managed to get really, really close to him at this point with the BMW of Jace just behind them. So it's still anyone's to take if they want to take that P4. Empire losing time this time around is 8 tenths back from his fastest, so Alexander also has the fastest lap, so that'll give him the another 5 points in the championship, which is crucial for him, obviously having to do a bit of recovery, but coming in a fairly respectable position. To be honest, I don't think on the kind of long run pace of that quite would have had the kind of life in its tyres to battle with the likes of the Mazda or the Renault. I feel like it's far too moves. I've got a little nudge, and Arch is dropping positions now, half a second penalty as well, so he's not going to be too happy with that one. Viper, he's going to want to make this move. Is he going to manage to get it? He is, as he continues his recovery drive. Excellent recovery from him. P14 at one point, and now running in P8. So that's hold on. Archangel's gone for the move again down the inside. Is he going to manage to make this one stick? It's looking like he may have this one covered. He does. So he has managed to maintain his top 8 position, but he's obviously got Viper riding right on the back of him. Vinny Bear rounds out the top 10. Is he going to let the Mazda through? I'm sure he will. He's a rather respectable racer. The bin is here, P11, so he's dropped back a bit. P12 for Adam in the second of the Subarus, and as you can see, we've got Andy P13 in the second BMW. With Reed overtaking Jody, I'm not sure how that's happened. We've got a car off on the grass there. That's looking like it's at turn 3. Not sure who that is. Let's have a look. So it was Adam. Oh no, it was the bin. So the bin having a big off there. Not quite sure how he's managed that. It just seemed like there was a massive spinny arrow over there. It's looking like he's just got himself back on track and back underway. So lap 29 out of 30, only a little bit to go. We are still maintaining that lead and maintaining it by quite a bit. As you can see, we've managed to get ourselves past Vinny Bear. So again, that's Reed off as well. So he's now P15. So Jody's got P14 back. So yeah, it's looking like Mazda's going to take the victory here, and Jody's going to round up with P14 as well, which is kind of what you need. It's a decent points haul, to be honest, for both cars from a whole weekend. So we're going to round up the last lap. We've got myself in the lead, Timo in P2, Largent P3, Alexander now P4 and Empire P5 with Jace P6. Rounding out the top 8, we've got Demon and Viper in P7 and P8 respectively. The fastest lap is currently going to Alexander. It's looking like he's going to have that one in the bag, especially with tyre enabled. I don't think anyone's going to be able to top that lap time. You know, going into the final few laps, I think tyre wear will just be a little bit too much to be able to really compete. So as you can see, we're already 5 tenths down on the fastest lap. So yeah, it's not looking like we can really get any more fastest laps in, so he's going to take the bonus points for that. But it's going to be a race victory, a main feature race victory for myself, P1. We're going to have Timo in P2, closely followed by Largent Vinibe riding at the top 10 there. So very good job to him. We're going to have Alexander on the recovery, putting himself in P4, and while I don't think he would have gone for the overall win in this event, P4 is still very good to him. Empire P5. We're going to have Jace rounding it up in P6 and the BMW, so that's a good points haul for him. As we can see, he's going to round the final corner down the main straight, and he's going to come in P6 with his teammate there, Andy, in P12. Demon, he's going to take P7, so a very good recovery drive from him after a bit of a difficult weekend in the Super Tourers. Standing driver Viper, he's going to get P8 for this one. Very well done to him. Awesome drive, and he's going to round out the top 8. As we can see, Vinny Bear in the bin, P10, 11, and Archangel's going to get P9. So awesome job by him. You can see Vinny Bear P10, the bin is here, P11, Andy P12, Adam is going to take P13, Jody P14, so that's going to be some crucial points for here, and Reed is, well, he's eventually going to get it in P15. So that's all 3 races done. So this is how the point standing looks for the drivers table for the Super Tours after round 1. The 3 races combined, we have myself at the top on 140 points. 5 points back is going to be Alexander with 135. Timo in third with 100 points. Jace P4 with 100 points just due to his lower positioning overall for the 3 races. Largent P5, 95 points. That's a good result for Subaru. The bin in Honda, 83 points. Very good job by him. Empire P7, 75 points. Viper, the standing P8 with 40 points. Adam is P9 with 37 in the other Subaru. P10 is Demonetized Vet with 35 points. Vinny is P11 with 32. Archangel P12 with 28 points. Andy P13, 22 points. Jody P14 with 9 points, putting herself above Reed in P15 with 2 points after 2 DNFs. So very well done to all the drivers. Really close point standings, especially towards the top and even towards the bottom. These can change from round to round. If we have a look at the manufacturers, it's Team Suzuki with the Yazoo livery leading the way with 167 points. Team Mazda P2, Upton Steel livery with 140 points. Team Renault P3 with the Car Store livery with 140 points, so that's equal for both teams. That's going to be insanely close. Team Subaru just behind with the Adrian Flux livery with 132 points. Team BMW 122 points, so very close at the top with Team Genesis P6, 110 points. Team Honda, essentially the bin is here doing all the work for them, 87 points, and double points for Team Toyota due to a missing driver. They are last with the double points, putting them on 56 points overall. So that's going to be it for my round 1 coverage of the NT Racing League of all 3 categories, sponsored by the controller people within Gran Turismo 7. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, round 2 is tonight, 7 PM BST. We kick that one off, and I cannot wait to bring you more coverage over the coming weeks. 6 rounds in this championship. That is round 1 fully done and dusted, and it's going to be interesting to see where the standings change and switch about as we go through round 2. So that's going to be it for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Turn those notifications on so you don't miss an upload from myself. Check out the controller people in the description down below. We also have a Discord if you're interested in that too. If you want to help me expand this league and you want to join, just give me a message and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. So that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching this, I guess, longer content, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Cheers, guys. Peace.